Hello friends, in this lecture we will see how we can use some of the tools available in Linux to find files in the folders or maybe all across the installation. Now some of these tools can be used to find only binary files while others can be used to find any of the files. Specifically we are going to look at which command, how to use it, what is its primary function. We will also be looking at where is. Then we will have a look at the find, which is one of the most widely used commands to find files across Linux distribution. And the last one we will be looking at locate. So now let's go ahead and see each one of these commands in action. So the first one that we are going to see is which, and specifically which is used to find the binary or the executable files on the Linux distribution. So the command is simply which, W-H-I-C-H, and afterwards if I give in the command that I want to see where it is residing, for example I want to see pwd where it is residing, it shows that pwd is in bin folder. Likewise I can find where is maybe ls command, so it is also in bin folder. But do remember that this which command, it works on the path defined in the environment variables. So if I do an echo of our path, so this which command, it will only search for these binary files in this path. If there is a binary file or executable which is not on this path, then it will not search it. So if you have got some customized programs and that program has got binary files or executable files, then make sure that either you include that path where those files are residing in your environment, or you might want to copy those files in these locations which are already available in the path variable. The next command that I wanted to tell you about is where is, and this command does the same functionality as that of which, but the difference is that not only that it shows us the binary files, but also it shows us the manuals against that binary file, or even the source code if that is available. So if I type in where is and ls or maybe fdisk, so I type in fdisk, so it has shown us that the binary file for fdisk or the program itself, it is in sbin, but its manual entries, or the if I type in man and then fdisk, then the manual that we get, that is placed in user share man path. So also a very handy tool that you can use to find the manual entries of your binary files. And if you have compiled a source that has got binaries as well as source and manuals, then it will show you all the three paths against all the three files. The next command that I wanted to show you, which is used by almost every system admin almost on maybe on daily basis, that is the find command, which is used to find a great it provides us a great deal of flexibility to find files of different types, maybe modified by our user, or maybe of different sizes, or we can even use regular expressions in that, the files that are available on our system. It's pretty simple as far as command is concerned. It's just one word, which is find, and after that we can give it different switches to find the files. For example, if let's say if I'm at the moment in my home folder and I type in find and then dot, then it will find all the files in this directory where I'm at the moment and all the subdirectories. So if I press enter, we see that it gives a long listing of all the files available in this folder. What I can do is that I can restrict the depth of this search by putting in a flag, which is max depth. I can type in something like find dot minus max depth, and let's give it a value of 1. So now it will only search the files that are in the same very directory where I'm executing the command. So we do that, and now we see that there are no further directory paths. As you can see, it is only giving us the names that are in that very directory. Now let's try to search, maybe use the root privileges, because I'm going to search a directory which may require certain root privileges to search for certain areas. So I'm going to use root privileges and then find, and afterward the directory which is var, and in var directory I'm going to use the name switch. And not only that, I'm going to use the name switch, I can specifically give the name of the file if I do remember it. But if I do not remember it, let's say I remember that the files were maybe zipped files, so I can use wildcard like this one and .gz. So this command should show us all the files in var directories and its subdirectories which are having .gz in the name. So let's find out what does it show us. I need to provide my password, and we see that it has given us the output that these are the files available in var directory with .gz extension. Also, let's suppose I want to find files that are owned by a specific user. Let's say I want to files that I own, this user Ahmed. So I can type in find, then let's start searching in the root folder, and then the switch is user, and then the username which is Ahmed. So once I do that, it says that it is still giving me permission denied error. So anyway, let it work through. It will take a bit of time because it has to go through all the directories in the root folder. So let's narrow down search and let's just give it in home. So it shows us that all the files that and folders that are owned by the particular user. You can also do search based on size of the file, as I mentioned earlier. For example, I can type something like find in maybe var directory, and then the switch or the flag is size, and the file size should be greater than 1 megabyte, and it should be, let's say, less than 5 megabyte. So show me all the files which fall in this size criteria, which is a really good search if you ask me, to sort out big files that are taking a huge space in your directories or in your partitions. And once you find those out, you can simply remove them. I can press enter now. And also, let me also show you one more thing over here. You see, at the moment this has given me the output, but I'm not really sure that what are the sizes of these files. So I can take this output as an input to ls minus l command, and let's see if this works, because not every command can take the output of one command and take it as an input for its function. So if I press enter, we see that this command, this earlier one find command, it did get executed, though we do not see any output because that output has been piped into ls command. But ls command did not show us the output of var directory. It simply showed us the output where I am residing at the moment, which is my home directory. So in those scenarios, we can use a command which is xargs or execute arguments. So what I can do is that I can put in xargs in here, and what this will do is that it will take the output or the output variables that have come from this command and put them after the ls minus l, or put them as a variable to ls minus l command. So it's like the output is shown, output is placed at this point. So if I press enter now, we should see that whatever this find command found, the file of the size of the files which fall between this bracket, they should be placed as an output of ls minus l command so that we can see their sizes. So let's press enter, and now we see that we have much more valuable information as compared to the earlier command. Now we are sure that whatever files we are seeing, they fall in between this bracket. So like this one is 1.3 megabyte, this is 2.6 megabyte, and so on and so forth. All the files that fall within that bracket I can use the same command with a little bit variation of because there is a functionality which is supported by this find command, which is called execute. So it means that execute this command, and then middle brackets, this would signify that whatever output was given by find command, put them in here, and then afterwards I put in backslash and then a semicolon. So a backslash and a semicolon, and the output should look like the same thing because it's virtually doing the same functionality. So we see that the output is the same as we had seen earlier. Now mostly this type of execution is used when we want to find certain files of certain types and we want to remove them. So we can use a switch of rm-rf over here, and if you are finding certain files that you want to simply remove, maybe based on the size or maybe based on the user, your user might have left your organization and you might have deleted his home or her home folder, but you are not very sure that whether all of the files owned by you, that particular user, have been removed or not. So you can do that search that I told you about with user switch, and afterwards you can append rf-rf, and all the output that comes out, if there is any output, if there are any files still owned by that user, you can simply remove them by using this command. Sometimes what you need to do is that you need to find commands which are quite older and maybe you are unable to find them. So you can use a switch which can find the files which are older than a certain time limit, and specifically that time limit is given in days. So I can type here, like, if I want to find files in my own home folder which are let's say this is the switch that I'm talking about, -m time, and the files which are, let's say, maybe 100 days old. So it should show us all the files which are 100 days old, and if I press enter, it gives me nothing because none of the files in my home folder are older than 100 days. This is a newly installed Ubuntu system. You can see some other cool options provided by find command by typing in manual entry for find, and look at all the options that are available. If I bring it down, so this is also giving me day start, depth. This is the switch that I told you about. This is the depth switch, and likewise max depth switch is another one. No leaf is there, and you can use regular expressions. And if I bring it further down, you can use this -a minute switch, which is for file which was last accessed and minutes ago. You can also use this switch. So really a cool command that you can use and tweak in your environment to find files based on your criteria. The last command or tool that I wanted to tell you about regarding finding files, and honestly speaking that is not used, but this has been mentioned in LPIC certification, so I needed to mention it, and that command is locate. So this one. Now what locate does is that it does find files just like we use the command find, but the difference is that it is far less sophisticated as far as this functionality is concerned, and there are two major drawbacks. One is that if we are to find a file maybe by the name of ABC, then we cannot really restrict in any way that it should only find the files with ABC in the name of that file. It will find all the files which may even look like maybe DABC or maybe ABCD. So all the files which have ABC in between, it will find those files, and we will not be able to curtail the output so that it only displays files which are having absolutely name as ABC and nothing else. Then there is very less availability of switches. We cannot define the criteria that we have seen in case of find command. And the last thing is that this locate command, it does not find files in real time. What it does is that this locate command, it maintains it does not maintain a database. It works based on a database, and that database contains all the files. If you run a command that I'm just going to tell you about, if you run a command, that database contains all the files that are placed in your system, provided you have not pruned some of the directories that I'll just show you. So that database is considered by locate command, and if that command or if that file is available in that database, that is shown to the standard output. So it really means that if you have kind of restricted certain directories not to be updated in that database, or you have not updated your database at all, maybe for some amount of time, then either it is possibility that certain files have been added that will not be shown, or maybe it will show you certain files that are not there anymore because you might have deleted those files but your database has not been updated. So the first thing that I want to show you is, let's say, locate and then -s, which shows the status of that database that this locate command searches in for finding files. So I press enter, and this is the database location that it is showing us. It is in var lib mlocate, and mlocate.db is the database, and at the moment there are more than 13,000 directories, these many files, and these are file names, and this much data is being used for maintaining the database. Now the file that I wanted to tell you about regarding this locate is in etc, and then in update db.conf, I press enter, and this is the file that you can use. For example, you see this is saying prune bind mount. So what it means is that if we have manually mount certain devices, like maybe we have mounted USB, and I do not want that USB to be searched when I use locate command, so I can disable it using this switch. Likewise, these type of files, we can make certain type of files not to be searchable. At the moment this is commented out, so it will search any kind of file and maintain that in its database. Then we can also define prune paths, the paths that are not to be searched. For example, I do not want files in my temp folder because that is cleaned up once we reboot the system. Similarly, var spool or media or home.encrypts, I do not want any of the files placed in these paths to be maintained in the database. So we can prune these or we can restrict these. And then these are some of the file systems that if any of the file belongs to this file system in this very particular partition types, then those should also not be maintained in the database. Now once we have got files and we want to update the database, normally these databases are maintained by the administrators based on the cron jobs, which may run this cron job based maybe on daily basis. But if that is not running and you want to update the database manually, you can issue the command which is update db, and I believe that needs to be run with root privileges. So I do that, and it is taking a bit of time because maybe I'm updating it for the first time. So once that database gets updated, now it will be able to locate the files. As of now, whatever the files have been available on this Linux distribution. The only benefit of this locate command is that since it works on the database, so the search functionality is much faster as compared to find. But really, as compared to the drawbacks or the limited functionality that it provides, I personally prefer never to use it. So that's all there is to it. As far as finding files is concerned, we have seen which, where is, find and locate commands. I hope you have learned from this video, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.